Welcome, tech enthusiasts and tree huggers alike. Today, we're taking to the skies with a topic that's sure to make you drone on and on.
Oh, Mark, your puns always leave me pining for more. But seriously, folks, we're diving into the fascinating world of aerial drones for forest monitoring and protection.
That's right, Tom. We're about to explore how these high-flying helpers are branching out into conservation efforts. It's like Smokey the Bear got a serious tech upgrade. Let's start by unpacking how these aerial acrobats are revolutionizing forest monitoring. Tom, did you know that drones can now cover more ground than a squirrel on espresso?
I did not, Mark, but I'm intrigued. Are we talking about the same drones that deliver my late-night pizza cravings?
Not quite, Tom. These are specialized unmanned aerial vehicles equipped with high-tech sensors and cameras. They're like the James Bond of the forest, but with less martini drinking and more tree watching.
Fascinating. So, what exactly can these airborne agents accomplish in our woodlands?
Well, imagine having a real-time bird's-eye view of an entire forest. These drones can create high-resolution 3D maps, monitor forest health, detect wildfires early, and even track wildlife populations. It's like having 1,000 rangers in the sky, minus the khaki shorts. Now, Tom, these drones aren't just flying around aimlessly like a moth in a lampshade factory. They're powered by some serious artificial intelligence.
Are we talking Skynet levels of AI here, Mark? Should we be worried about drones becoming self-aware and deciding trees are their new overlords?
Easy there, Terminator. It's not quite that dramatic. The AI in these drones is more like a really smart forest ranger. It can identify tree species, detect signs of disease or pest infestation, and even recognize patterns that might indicate illegal activities like poaching or unauthorized logging.
So it's less, "I'll be back," and more, "I'll be bark"? Sorry, couldn't resist. But seriously, how does this AI-powered monitoring translate to real-world conservation efforts?
Great question, Tom. In a recent project I consulted on, we deployed a fleet of these smart drones over a national park spanning 500,000 hectares. The results were impressive: a 40% reduction in response time to environmental incidents and a 30% increase in detecting illegal activities. It's like giving Mother Nature her own high-tech neighborhood watch program. Now, before we get too carried away with visions of drone-patrolled utopian forests, we should address some of the challenges and considerations of this technology.
Let me guess, privacy concerns? I can just imagine a hiker looking up to see a drone and wondering if their communing with nature moment is being live-streamed.
You're not far off, Tom. Privacy is indeed a concern, as is the potential disturbance to wildlife. We don't want to trade one problem for another and end up with a bunch of stressed-out squirrels filing noise complaints.
I can see the headlines now. Squirrels demand drone-free safe spaces. But jokes aside, how are conservationists addressing these issues?
It's all about balance, Tom. The key is developing robust regulatory frameworks and ethical guidelines. We need to ensure that our enthusiasm for this technology doesn't outpace our responsibility to use it wisely. It's like giving a teenager keys to a sports car, exciting possibilities. But we need some ground rules first. You know, Tom, if we were to map this out on a Wardley map, we'd see drones and AI moving from the custom-built phase towards more standardized products and services.
Interesting. So we're not just talking about technological evolution, but also how these technologies are becoming more accessible and widely adopted in forest conservation. Mark, can you break down this Wardley map for us? I'm curious how it illustrates the strategic landscape of drone technology in forestry.
Certainly, Tom. If we look at the map, we see forest monitoring as the user need at the top. Moving down, we have components like drones, AI algorithms, and data analysis tools. These are evolving from custom solutions towards more standardized products.
I see. And how does this affect the overall strategy for forest conservation?
Well, as these technologies become more commoditized, we'll likely see increased adoption and integration into standard forest management practices. This shift could lead to more efficient and cost-effective conservation efforts.
Fascinating. So the key takeaway is that as drone and AI technologies mature, they'll become more accessible tools for forest managers worldwide, potentially revolutionizing conservation practices on a global scale.
The Wardley map really highlights how the forestry sector is on the brink of a technological revolution. It's like we're watching the forest industry evolve from using carrier pigeons to deploying high-tech drones.
I can see that. It's almost like the forest is getting its own version of the Jetsons, minus the flying cars. For now.
Exactly, Tom. And just like in the Jetsons, we're seeing a future where technology and nature coexist. The map shows us that success in this field will depend on balancing innovation with responsible practices.
So, it's not just about having the coolest tech, but also about using it wisely and ethically?
Precisely. The Wardley map reminds us that while we're racing towards the future of forest conservation, we need to navigate the complex landscape of regulations, partnerships, and ecological considerations. It's like playing a high-stakes game of Frogger, but instead of crossing a busy highway, we're leaping towards sustainable forest management. Well, Tom, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today, or should I say, a lot of airspace. From high-flying drones to AI that can tell a pine from an oak, it's clear that forest conservation is entering a new era.
Indeed, Mark. It seems the future of forest protection is looking up quite literally. Who knew that the key to saving our forests might just be robots that can't even climb trees?
As always, we encourage our listeners to dig deeper into this topic. Check out our show notes for additional resources, and remember, in the game of forest conservation, it's important to drone responsibly. Until next time, this is Mark and Tom, signing off and flying high.